Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have David. David is from England in the UK. So let's see what David has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello, David. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you? Thanks for having me.
The pleasure is all mine. Thanks so much for taking the time this evening for the interview. Thank you.
That's all right. That's all right. Happy to be here.
So tell me, how was your day today?
It was good. I went to the gym at about 3 o'clock, woke up at about 10, and I've been working all the way in between. So I usually at the moment am working from about like 10 until I don't know, maybe like 12 or 1 in the morning because I run my own business.
I
Um, so it's an intense period, but I enjoy it. It's going really well. How about you?
Was good, yes. It was a great day. I love that even though the weather is not the best,
Yeah.
however, I love being productive. I love to be busy. I love to be doing things. I think that, I was watching your videos actually. You were saying that you work a lot of hours, and I was like, my God, I relate to him. I love being busy. I love going to bed
Yeah.
very tired. It's the
It's one
best.
of those things where I feel really bad emotionally, usually in the holidays when
Uh-huh.
nothing's going on and you're
Yeah.
kind of left to your own devices to like figure out what you're going to do with the day. Did you have a chance to get out at all today? Because I know it was raining.
Yes, I have a nine
Yeah.
to five job, and I
Yeah.
was working. I came back. I had something to eat,
Yeah.
and I'm ready to do some interviews now.
Yeah. Good,
But
good.
what did you work out in the gym today?
I did deadlifts. So I we were 5 kilos below my PB. So I was a little bit frustrated, but it was the Christmas period, so we're like reworking back into it because I fell off a bit. And it was basically deadlifts. I did some like curls, like holding 45 kgs and then curling over. We did
Oh,
some sled pushes. If you've done sled pushes before, they're disgusting. I hate them.
which
Really,
one are those? Which one are those?
it's where I'm not sure if you've seen it before in a gym, but they'll usually have like a strip of like fake grass and
Okay.
you'll push it along and you put like 150
Oh, I
kilos on there.
see.
So
I know.
yeah. You're working out while doing cardio. It's intense. Yeah.
And tell me where you're from,
So
David.
I'm living right now in Brighton.
Mhm.
Um, I grew up literally 15 minutes away from here, but I've spent like the past 7 or 8 years moving loads of different places in the UK. So I went from Lewes to London, London back to Lewes, and then from Lewes to Eastbourne. I lived for about 3 months in this was just at the end of COVID in Chichester. Was it Chichester or the other one? There's another one on the east of England that sounds like Chichester, but um, Guildford as well. So yeah, now back in Brighton. Yeah.
And besides the seaside, the scene Brighton, what's the biggest joy of living Brighton, in your opinion?
I think the re part of the reason that I moved back here, and the reason is to answer your question is I guess with most cities you have access to almost everything that you'd ever need. But the unique thing about Brighton is the seafront. And
Hmm.
there's I don't know, I think a lot of people, everyone that I've spoken to that has lived here or has been here, especially the ones who have just visited, always talk about how great it is and how much they'd like to live somewhere like here because
Yeah.
of how free it is. And it's a very hyper liberal city, so I think people feel quite safe here identity wise.
Yeah.
um you can kind of do say whatever you kind of want. Um so it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. Yeah. Yeah.
And as you mentioned already about you run a business, so tell me a little bit more
Yeah.
about your business.
So I run a tech company, and what the tech does is help small businesses to find out whether the products or services that they want to sell have customers already searching for them. So a good way of putting this is, let's say, if you imagine dragons, then a lot of the people that go on there don't know if when they make the investment, if it's going to succeed or fail. And you can save a lot of that time, headache, heartache, and money by running small tests in the first place to see if people, raise their hand and say, hey, look, I'd actually like to spend money on this. So typically this would be called finding product market fit or market fit or customer solution fit. and we work with our customers when we have got some results to tell them, hey, look, like this market is responding really well, this one isn't. And
Mhm.
yeah.
I see. And what do you like the most about your job?
So I think, I mean, I started in the music industry, which is like poles apart from what I'm doing now. I mean, there are some similarities in that, in the music industry, you always, you put out a song or whatever, and you're kind of seeing if people respond or not.
Mhm.
So that's quite exciting. But naturally, these two worlds are poles apart, and regardless of what industry it is that I'm in, the thing that I enjoy most about my job is, as is with anyone that's freelance or runs their own business, is being
Mhm.
able to, run their life on their own terms, uh,
Yep.
which is a huge blessing. I got into business because I never, as entitled as this sounds, I never wanted to have a job because I felt always quite restricted. And I have had a couple of jobs, but I never really did that well with management or bosses because I probably came across as quite arrogant. But here we are. So yeah. I think a lot of entrepreneurs probably feel that way. Yeah,
Amazing. Okay, so during the interview, I'm going to explore a bit more about your life and also about your
sure,
journey. Are you
sure.
ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share my
I'm
today?
excited for it. Yeah, I'm interested to see if you uncover anything that I forgot about a long time ago. That yeah, it'll be exciting for sure.
Amazing. Welcome to William in the Magic Box. So happy, my best friend. Random questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just gonna play a song just for us to relax before the first question. Okay?
Sure. All right.
Let's do it. Right, so before we start the interview, during the join, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Sure.
Amazing. First question is, what does happiness mean to you?
Damn. Okay. So for me, it is very much about feeling like this may sound quite depressing, but feeling like I get to the end of my life having achieved everything that I believed that I could have done. So
Mhm.
the way that I would summarize it in one word is, or two words, three words, because I can't count, is fulfilling my potential. That's what I'd say. Yeah.
And do you believe that happiness is a choice?
I think happiness is a byproduct of what you do, have, act, um, the way that I believe that it's a byproduct. In fact, screw everything that I've said. I think it's a byproduct of your perspective. That's what I would say. So I guess in many ways it is a choice, but more for the fact that you don't go out looking for happiness. You go out looking for what you already have and all of the great qualities that you have, no matter how bad it is, and you will start to feel happy as a result. And I think it's a really powerful emotion.
Mm-hmm.
You should try and get as much of it as you can without being a dopamine addict, because it can also go the other way where you start finding
Yep.
happiness in, vices and so on. But I think it's an effect. It's a byproduct. Yeah.
Tell me when have felt the happiest in your life, like a moment or a situation or a period of your
Yeah.
life felt like, wow, I'm feeling great now.
Um, I think a lot of people would probably answer this by saying it was when they were kids and when they were children. And for
Mhm.
me, I wouldn't necessarily say that in my childhood I felt the happiest. I just had the least amount of responsibility and stress. So everything was kind of okay.
Mhm.
But the times where I felt the happiest is probably when I was I'd say about the ages of 16 to 18,
Okay.
because I just finished my GCSEs and I was going into sixth form college. And this was at the exact same point in time where the idea of starting my own business came into my head. And the reason that I was happiest, I think, is because I had nothing to lose, everything to prove. And I felt extremely focused, and everything that I did worked, you know? And that feedback loop of imagining what you want and then seeing it was really, it made me really happy, I think. So yeah.
Interesting. You said something that I never kind of thought before. I have nothing to lose, but I have everything to prove. You
Yeah,
said
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
interesting that I like this concept. I like, which makes all sense.
I think it's if anyone can be mentally in a position where regardless of what you have in your life, what you have to look after in your life, all of the responsibilities that you have, the stress, etc. To ultimately, at the end of the day, realize that none of this will matter in another 10, 20, 30 years' time. So you should just go out, take the shot and do it for yourself. I know that there are certain constrictions that get in the way, but then it's more of a question around how do I work around them rather than complaining or begrudging the fact that I have them. So as much as possible, for me personally speaking, and for anyone, I would say, yeah, if you can stay in that mindset, you'll be truly limitless. Yeah.
Amazing. Good one. Next question. Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay, next question is, who has been the most influential person in your life?
I'm gonna default to my dad for
Hmm?
both, honestly, obviously the positive and the negative. Um, there were events that happened for me in my family around the ages of 13, without going down a path of tragedy and making everyone depressed. Basically, my parents split when I was 13. 2 years prior to that, my mum was diagnosed with cancer. She's still alive. She's fine. She's healthy. But it
Good.
was a very tumultuous period where 2 years after being 13, they'd fully split, and I started to get involved with some sketchy people and went down quite a bad path in life. And there was a lot about that time looking back that, having gone through a lot of therapy, which is great and everyone should do if you've never tried it, um, I didn't actually realize how much that had impacted my decisions and the way that I thought about life, the way that I interpreted relationships, etc. And because it was my dad who left, I subsequently have kind of put a lot of that onto him subconsciously. Um, Fundamentally, I think he did the right thing at the time, and we have a really good relationship. But on the other hand, the positives that come with it, a few things that have really struck me, um, have had a big impact on me. And one of those things is something that he very simply just said to me that stuck with me for whatever reason for all of these years, which is basically whatever situation you're in, just do the right thing. And the right thing essentially meaning morally, that will have the best long-term result, I think, is what he really meant by that. So it stuck with me and with everything that I do in business or in my life or whatever, to stay as morally grounded as I can and to consider all parties in whatever it is that I do or decide to do. He influenced me as well through just seeing his levels of generosity, I think,
Mhm.
which rubbed off on me definitely. And I think it just kind of it correct. He's a relatively spiritual individual, so all of these things together, while it wasn't necessarily just one moment in time, it gave me the impression that life is to go and be created, and not to be you're not conscripted into fitting a certain definition. So
Sure.
there's so many people that have influenced me in so many different ways as to who I literally am today, and less so in other areas of my dad. But I think majority speaking, the thing that really like pushed me to be who I am would be him. Yeah.
Okay, so your dad is watching this interview right now. When you have
Yeah.
an opportunity to send him a message, what would you say? He's watching.
Hello. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, if you haven't heard it from me before, then hopefully this will share some give you some insight on how I really feel. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, good point. I think family, it's a very, let's say, it can be emotional topic, can be hard, can be difficult, can be easy. So I think family is a, it's a, you know, it's a very sometimes difficult topic as well, because as you mentioned, we go through a situation that sometimes we even don't understand as a child, and for us, always going to give impact in our life for different reasons. Could be a
Yeah.
positive, negative challenge, could be anything. But at the end of the day, when you kind of grow up, when you understand a bit more about life, you understand, okay, now I understand why they went through that. And sometimes there wasn't even their fault, or they were learning and navigating through life as well. And
Yeah.
sometimes, even if they didn't understand, but growing up when you're an adult, you go like, okay, they were just trying to be their best, or they were trying to be themselves or a better person. And sometimes it's not easy to understand, but our parents, like everyone else, they're human beings. They make mistakes, they
Yeah.
right things, but I think most of the time it comes from a good place. They just want to see us happy and grounded, and to turn a better person.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of truth in that. I think as you turn into an adult, you could go down the route of, as a lot of people do, and way into being much older adults, is kind of begrudging and blaming your parents. And that's a really easy route to like fall down.
Totally.
Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, perspective matters a lot with this. And yeah, if you were in their shoes, you probably would have done the same thing with their consequences and the way they
Absolutely.
did it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Totally. Sometimes we can make the same mistakes, or even worse mistakes. You know what I mean? We
Yeah,
are human beings. We are, vulnerable, and it can happen to us. So I think we just need to try to understand at least, or put ourselves in their shoes. And it's sometimes blaming, as you said, is the easiest way to go. However, maybe it's not the best way to go. And
sure.
just try to understand things, and forgiveness. I think sometimes you need to forgive, and I know sometimes it can be really hard. And again, some other situations can be even unforgivable, because we don't know.
Yeah,
However, if something that you can look back and try to see the positive side, or the understanding, it makes you feel better as well, and more
of
good
course.
with yourself, for
Yeah,
sure.
forgiveness is important. And I mean, just on that, I had to learn how to properly forgive in 2025. And a lot of people think that it means that you just have to mentally let go. But actually, true forgiveness is being able to, if the
Mhm.
person is still alive, if you can speak with them, if it's about a person, to be able to
Yeah,
let them know how much it has impacted you and why you despise what they did or what happened or whatever. But you can only truly start forgiving until you've got that mental burden off of your shoulders
totally.
and you're able to see how they respond. And it's really just coming to peace with, I guess, like the full cycle from when the event started to the middle where you're trying to figure everything out, and where it actually concludes and where you start forgiving is when you've been able to, yeah, sit down with them, speak with them, and let them know how it made you feel. And that's where I think true forgiveness can start. Yeah. Yeah.
Next question. Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay, so before the next question, as you mentioned in the beginning of the interview about music, so tell me
Yeah.
how music came into your life.
Again, with my dad, but also my mum. So my mum has been a cello teacher since the early 2000s. My dad started in the music industry in the 80s, producing for what were big acts at the time. So Shirley Bassey was one of them. If there are any football fans listening to this and you know Paul Gascoigne, you'll know that he had a very controversial song released in the 90s called Fog on the Tyne. And my dad was the audio engineer for that, and the song went #2 on the UK charts, I think.
Wow.
So this was really inspiring for me to see, and I naturally just kind of assumed that growing up that this would be the route that I would go down. So for me, I started playing around with. I mean, I started playing the piano when I was 4, the guitar when I was 6, the drums when I was 11, and I really enjoyed it. And then when I was about 10, I got my first laptop and started like making stuff on like GarageBand and stuff like that.
Wow.
Um, but it was only 6 years later that I started doing that, I guess more regularly when I just
Mhm.
started sixth form. And I was like, I kind of made a commitment to myself that if I loved it this much, that I wanted to live a life where I did something that I loved, that I could make money from. And that's how the professional side of it started. But it started way before, when I was, yeah, literally about 4 or something. Yeah.
Tell me nowadays, in the music industry, tell me three names that for some reason you feel inspired by, or
Yeah.
maybe you just love them, or maybe you just love their song, their music, the lyrics? Tell me three names of three artists in the music industry.
Yeah, sure. So Jimmy Iovine is one of them. Um, and he isn't a regularly well-known name, but he was the mastermind with Dr. Dre behind the Beats headphones. Um, but that's one of his more later successes. He started off, I think, being a janitor or a runner at a studio in the 60s. Um, and worked his way up eventually to producing for the Beatles, Rolling Stones, etc., John Lennon, etc. And then, later on in life, he was the main kind of proponent behind like Lady Gaga, for example. So
Wow.
and this is just, I mean, this isn't even scraping the surface. There are, tons of people that you could see that he's been able to make in the industry, so to speak. So he's definitely one of them, less so for the music and more so for um the advancement of the industry. He was also behind iTunes, for example, in the early 2000s when Napster came around and music was being ripped off and artists weren't getting paid. Record labels were on their ass financially and nearly went bankrupt. He was the connection between the record labels and Apple in building iTunes. And then obviously, like, he wasn't directly involved in Spotify, but that's ultimately what it evolved into. So he's one. Dr. Dre is another. I grew up listening to a lot of hip hop, and again, the music's incredible, yes, but it's more for the inspiration I have from him in every mainstream rapper that like Eminem or 50 Cent or Kendrick Lamar came from him. And I think
Wow.
it's, to have such a consistent record like that without necessarily being the best known producer or rapper on the planet is incredible, that being him. And then the third one, I guess, again, maybe less so for the music, but for more what he's done would be someone like Rick Rubin. Again, like another music producer that has the reason that I really like Rick Rubin is he has an approach to producing records that is to go the complete opposite to what the mainstream record labels tell you to do, which is to look at what's working and then create your own version of it. He's very
Mhm.
much reverse engineering. Create music was always there to be enjoyed and something that's unique. And I assume he would be a little bit frustrated with how samey everything was that got released. And I think he starts a record with a clean mind, a clean slate, and looks to create something truly unique. Which, when you look at companies like Apple in a completely different sector follow a similar philosophy. It's whatever you have in your mind that you believe to be true, you should fight through all of the controversy about making something new or the innovation or the failures to just bring something that you have in your heart to the world. And I think humans globally respect that. So I think all three of them have some type of correlation with that, I think. Yeah.
I believe three of them, they're still with us, yeah?
They
This,
are. Yeah, every single one of them. Yeah.
okay, so the question is gonna be a bit tougher now.
Sure.
One day you're gonna wake up in the morning having three missed calls on your phone from those three you just mentioned right now. I think you know where I'm going, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which one you gonna call back straight away? Which one you gonna
Yeah.
send a message? I'm gonna call you back later. And the third one, you don't call back, just ignore him for now. Tell me
Yeah,
those names.
sure. In list of priorities, so I call Dr. Dre back straight away. Jimmy Iovine would be later, and then Rick Rubin. Kind of we'll figure we'll figure something out. Yeah, yeah.
That was very straightforward. I love it. I love your confidence. Love it. Next question is, do you have any pet peeves?
Do I have any what? Sorry,
Pet peeves?
bad beefs.
Pet peeves. You know those, pet peeves, yeah? This expression.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do. I've quite a lot. I'm quite a particular character. I think I don't like people being late, but that's kind of a cliche one. Um, Pet peeves. Just okay. Yeah, here's one that a lot of people living in London will get. But like if you're walking down Oxford Street or literally anywhere in London, is like
Wow.
really poor spatial awareness. So if you're walking in, up towards behind somebody and you give them enough space and then they like suddenly turn and your phone gets knocked out of your hand, that's really frustrating. I was in the supermarket yesterday. I was like walking down the aisle, moved out of the guy's way, and then like conveniently he like swung and I like knocked into him. So like spatial awareness is one. Um, Pet peeves, I think my last one would probably be like a lack of urgency, or not necessarily a lack of urgency, but like a proclivity to always delay things. Um,
Right.
I don't like in my own life and with anyone that I'm dealing with to say uh that they want to do something. You know, they get really frustrated about not having done something and they get really annoyed at themselves. And it's just like, you know, it's as simple as doing it. Um, so yeah, I guess a lot of it is to do with patience. I think that's probably that's probably what it is.
What's the biggest joy of being David? What do you like the most about being you?
Um, so one thing that I was afraid about myself growing up is I kind of viewed myself as being like weak or scared of other people's opinions or kind of scared of how people would react. And you know, fortunately through which and whatever way I've kind of done it has been to be in a position now where I really love about myself this. Well, look, number one, I don't really get embarrassed. I
Hmm?
could, you know, freaking, you know, walk out the street and, you know, my trousers are halfway down my legs and my jacket is back to front and, you know, my I look like a mess. And I'd probably laugh at myself and then just, you know, go back home and, you know, kind of sort it out. But like that deep feeling of embarrassment, I just don't have. And similarly in other areas of life, I think it's just being in a position where um, I almost always have an opinion on something about the way that it should be done or how somebody's acting or whatever it is. And usually I'm not afraid to let people know how they're doing. And I try and do it in as nice a way as possible. And always deliver it politely. But it feels like a burden off of my shoulders when I'm able to basically just be honest with someone uh, at the expense of, you know, always trying to make people feel good. It's not even that. I think, look, you mentioned that you came from Brazil to the UK, right? And probably one of the first things that you noticed is this focus on being polite every time. And politeness is great. I think it builds a society, but if it comes at the expense of telling the truth, then it can become quite dangerous. So
Totally.
that's one thing I really like about myself. Yeah, it's just I just, brutal is probably the wrong word, but just honesty, I think would be one that I pick. Yeah. How about you?
I think I think what I like most about myself is about I have this approach of a very open-minded, approachable way of being. You know, I love being
Right.
open-minded. I'm very curious. I love to, you know, to be challenged about something that I didn't know, something that I'm going to learn something. I'm very curious. I think the show for me fits very well because I'm curious about people. I'm curious about things, their lives,
Very true.
about what they learn, how they start something, or how they are navigating through something
Yeah.
of that. And when they talk about it, when they share, I feel like in their shoes, I feel the emotions of them because I know how badly they want something or how badly they want to express themselves or
Yeah.
to put their voice out. I think for me it's a great because I'm very open-minded. I love being approachable and open-minded about things. I think it's about learning. Yeah, you learn a lot.
Yeah.
A
I
lot of
think a lot of people could benefit from that. If the problem is that if you're living life um unconsciously unconscious. So if you're unaware of the things that are holding you back, you can get to a point in life where you're consciously unconscious, where you are aware of the problems that are holding you back. But if you're kind of like double blinded, um, people stay very much stuck in their ways because it's what's familiar to them. So
totally.
they need some curiosity. On the other hand, as well, like I know that I'm a particularly curious individual. I have to be quite careful that sometimes I don't listen to too many opinions and I act on what I believe. But
Right.
you're always going to come to the right answer if you have lots of different opinions and then decide on the best one. I think that's the best way to approach something, especially in today's world with like social media. It can get very cult like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a superpower. Yeah.
But I like the way you said. I think no, it's not wrong for you to what you believe, and you just stick to your opinion and everything. However, don't stare at it. You know what I mean? Be a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Keep to your gut or your intuition. Is amazing. I think it's follow your intuition always. However, keep your ears open because sometimes you know what I mean.
Times change.
It can help you as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
3 questions left. Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay, David from England. Next question is, what does love mean to you?
Damn.
Damn.
What does love mean? I guess like you can't really have love unless it's unconditional.
Yes.
So, I mean, I guess one thing that I'll say, especially at the age that I'm at, so I'm 25, right? Turning 26, and there are people that, are starting to get engaged or get married and whatever. And I know people that have been, together for maybe a year or two. And it's kind of the types of, I'm basically a little bit shocked that people are getting married right now, right? And I always thought that I'd get married maybe in my 30s, but I think it's probably going to be a little bit later than that. I don't know. But I say all of this to say that the reason that it shocks me somewhat is that I guess, and this is partially my insecurity, to be able to love someone means that you know them well enough to accept all of their, and there's going to be some stuff that you don't know that would just utterly shock you. But I think the reason that that's love is because obviously this, in spite of the fact that they do things that annoy you and they, wake up and they snore and all of, wake up all the time and snore really loudly. This is just scraping the surface. You still want to be with them. And similarly in other areas of life, like if you love um, your job is not going to be enjoyable every day, but there's something that is about that job pushing you in a direction of your life that despite all of the bad things that you go through that's more important than the menial tasks that that you have to do. So I guess also love for yourself too, right? Like it's very easy, seeing videos on social media to believe that loving yourself means that, you have to, give yourself affirmations and, be a little bit cheesy and so on. But actually it means to look at everything that you've done, the way that you've wronged people, the way that unintentionally you messed up, and to obviously commit to not doing it again, to improve, to become a better person. But to be able to still look back at yourself and think, well, I love myself because I can embrace the fact that I'm willing to change. So it's a tricky one because like, you might love someone that just never changes, and then, maybe the love goes away. But that's what's so difficult about it, is because I guess people are quite afraid of how fluid it is.
Yeah.
But then maybe that's not love. I think love probably is just not fluid. It's probably solid. Could you ever fall out of love with someone, or did you never truly love them in the first place if it means that you accept them for everything? I don't know. It's a really tricky one. But yeah.
For example, tell me the very first time that love hit you, that you felt like, oh my God, now I understand what love means. Doesn't need to be a romantic love, could be situation, or maybe something that happened to you, or maybe a person came into your life, or maybe one person was already there, but for some reason you felt this love that you went like, oh my God, now I understand these butterflies in your tummy, something, you know what I mean? Again, as you said, people can see love different ways, love means different thing. However, for you, like, tell me a moment.
I mean, I guess for me, I'm going to answer this again in maybe slightly more of what could be seen as a negative tone, but it's with my first relationship, at the prospect of not having her in my life. Because I was kind of coasting through the relationship. And to give some context, we had one of these relationships where we like broke up multiple times and got back together, and it was very toxic. Like we both knew it was. And obviously this is part of the problem, right? Is when you keep on breaking up and then getting back together, it's like, well, it wouldn't be toxic if you just parted ways, which we did. And I think for me, because I was just coasting through, always expecting that person to be there, um,
Hmm.
and for things to always be the same, it kind of hit me like a brick when I wrote, oh, this is what it means, because I can't imagine a life without them.
Yeah.
And I guess that could be put into every other area of your life. Like, if somebody
Totally.
moves, right? Like if you've come from Brazil to London and maybe, initially it was maybe a punch in the gut, maybe it wasn't. Like I know some people that have moved from their home country to London, it's the other way around, is when they leave London, it's a problem. Um, so I think, yeah, for me, that's the first one that comes to mind. Um, yeah, because I guess I'm kind of like coasting through life, expecting things to always be the same, but you only really know it until it's gone. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you are so young as well. I think you're still, working out love. And I think all of us still some people, it doesn't matter which age you are. But I think,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes I think every relationship we go through, we always, oh my God, it's the love of my life. And sometimes not always that, but we
Yeah,
need to go through that because it's just we getting ready for the next one or just learn about ourselves. It's, again, there's no answer. There's no, like, everyone have their own way of seeing or way of approaching love. It's like life. I see the same as well. It's,
yeah.
yeah,
It's one of those few things that,
yeah,
like, no matter how rich, poor, no matter how tall, small you are, like no matter where you come from, it is
yeah.
like a shared painful experience. But yeah, it's
Oh, totally. Oh my God. It can, it can hurt that. I always say, if there was a medicine that
yeah,
you could just, swallow like a pill that would take this hurt away, oh, it'd be the best. But there,
yeah, it would be a
it's horrible. It's a horrible
yeah,
thing.
that
It's
would be a
horrible.
bestseller. That would be a best selling
Absolutely.
medication.
We need to work it out somehow to find these,
Yeah, that's actually quite a good business idea.
oh
Yeah.
my God, I think that would be like something that people would kill to buy this pill for sure. Two questions left. Let's do it.
Sure.
Before the next question, again, you're so young and you have this very confident personality. You well spoken, and I was watching some of your videos and the way you talk. You're very workaholic. I can see you have this business mindset as well. You always been this way, or somehow see maybe your dad or your parent, like your mom or people around you, that gave you this confidence.
Yeah. See, I would avoid the word confidence myself because I know that when I was looking at other people that I maybe admired or looked up to, and they came across as confident, and then after a few interviews of watching them or whatever it is, one person in particular that I was fortunate enough to do an interview with a few years ago, um, he threw a really interesting angle at me about this, which was, well, how do you know that I'm confident? How do you know that I'm basically not, bricking it in my head, having a mental breakdown, just speaking to the amount of people that I speak to? How is it that I come across as confident, but do you know that I truly feel confident? I think I paint the picture with that kind of foundation because
Mm-hmm.
um, there are look, I do feel quite uh, confident in myself and quite headstrong, and that's absolutely true. I think
Mm-hmm.
that you only really ever build that through repetition and practice. Like I'm comfortable in this interview because obviously we've got a great host, and I've done interviews before, and you kind of build a pattern of familiarity with how you do these things. But throw me into a situation that I've never been in, and I could come crumbling down. So I think one thing is like repetition is,
Mm-hmm.
as with everything, um, to feel confident in something means that you have uh, undeniable proof that you've done it before and that you can do it again. So that's one thing. But there is also this other element to it in that, like stepping into something new, you don't want to fully lose yourself and start acting the opposite of the type of person that maybe I'm coming across as. And that I think is embedded in faith. So, I mean, both religious faith. So I am religious myself, but you don't have to be. It is having faith that, through most things that anyone has been through in life, even if it's in a different kind of chapter, um, if you've been through some difficulty or something that remember the time that you were a kid and you didn't know how to ride a bike without the training wheels, and like, I don't know, you started your job for the first time and how nervous you felt about that, that you can kind of use these as reference points to just remind yourself that, of course, you might not feel this way because you haven't done it before. And that just allows you to ease into things. Confidence as well, especially for people my age in social settings, seems to be quite difficult.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if it is a generational thing, but I think technology hasn't helped overall. But
Yeah.
in whether it be in social settings or at work or a new job or whatever, I think it's really important to, and without sounding cliches, baby steps, and really to
Yeah.
define what baby steps means, at least for me, is like, for example, so after the Christmas period, I told you earlier, I've been really struggling. I've been eating too much after the Christmas period. I'm training in the gym. I feel really guilty about myself. So while I may not be at the same level of diet that I was before, but in the Christmas period, I was way over, baby steps would be, I'm going to give myself the freedom to eat what I want to eat
Yeah.
with some restriction so that I have the mental satisfaction of that little voice in my head, but without doing anything that would make me regret it, a couple, in the evening or the day after or whatever. So I guess, look, bring it back to the point of like confidence. I think I've always viewed myself as being confident because I guess I was quite a vocal child and quite extroverted and so on. But still, there were moments in my life I was extremely shy, very introverted, didn't interact with people. I guess it was
Mhm.
kind of a sweet spot of everything that I've mentioned here and that, which helps a little bit. Um, yeah, and just freaking going out there and look, if you knew that you were going to die tomorrow, how many more people would you speak to? How many more uh, you know, people would you call up on your phone book? That type of thing. The confidence just going to like, what's the worst that can happen? That type of thing. Yeah.
Great. Next question is, what do you think people need to know about each other before they start a relationship?
What do I think people need to know about me?
About each other, no, about when before they start.
Oh, okay. So there's like loads of different facets that affect it. And are you talking about romantic relationships, relationship? Like,
Romantic,
okay,
romantic.
cool. Yeah, sure. So there's like loads of different facets to that what will impact a relationship. Like one is lifestyle, the other is like work habits, the other is family, and you've got things that underpin that, like health. Like, do you guys go to the gym? Do you run? Do you not enjoy either of that? And you want to go on walks? Do you not want to exercise at all? Which is fine. Like I've been there. I don't want to either, but there are all of these different things that on top of the three or four that I've mentioned that in these categories of life, as much as possible, always helps to be aligned on. But that's just, again, it's just cliche talk. But fundamentally, if you can come to that person and be open with them and with yourself first about truly, again, another cliche term, but what your non-negotiables are. I mean, another way of putting it is like just your list of priorities in life. Like for me, number one, nothing comes before, nothing can get in the way of me if it means that it's going to impact. I was mentioning potential earlier. If I feel like it's going to impact me reaching that, and sometimes that means to work hard. So I have to be with somebody that can kind of deal with that. But at the same time, for me, my compromise is that I can't be fully lost in it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't enjoy my life so much, and B, I wouldn't have any successful relationships. Even when I have achieved that success that I'm looking for, your habits, they die hard. So there has to be a couple of days out of the week, a day out of the week, an evening, a trip every 7 weeks or whatever that you do. Um, to answer your question, fundamentally, the things that people have to know about each other again are what their kind of non-negotiables are. But once if you're fortunate enough to get that out of the way, which like most people, they're just going to live with each other having their non-negotiables not being met, is obviously some tolerance helps, right? Like set your expectations lower and you'll live a happier life. But the I guess I guess what like really interests them. Um, and can you kind of capitalize on that together? Like if your partner really enjoys the outdoors, but let's say that you freaking hate, going on long hikes and so on and so forth. Like, do you like going to a garden? Can you tolerate 15 minutes in a garden or going on a walk and then you go home? Some things you're just not meant to do together. I think interest is really important because if you feel like you're with someone that has absolutely no interest in anything that you're interested in, you feel like you're talking to a brick wall.
Totally.
And there's nothing more, killing to a relationship than that. Non-negotiables is one thing, but if you're in a position where you're with somebody that you just feel like you're trying to drag up a hill, both ways, like, and if they're trying to drag you up a hill, then it's probably not meant to be. Yeah.
Totally. I get your point. I think it's all you need to be very clear sometimes. You need to be yourself when you meet someone. I know sometimes you want to impress, you want to give your best, which is normal. All of us go through that. However, keep being you. I think that's
Yeah.
and be open and talk about your things as well. Without any, don't be afraid, don't be scared, because if the right person, it will be.
Yeah.
If not, it's just next one, and things gonna go the right way. So just keep being you.
It's really important. I mean, look, like basically, again, I seem to have a bit of a tendency to say things in negative ways, but don't kill yourself just so that they can live.
Oh,
Um, you know,
yeah.
and similarly for them, my last relationship, I really felt like I was holding that person back because of how different we were. Um, she was much more sensitive and I guess earthly is one way that I'd put it. She was very kind of in touch with nature and very sensitive individual. And most people know someone like this. And I'm not the complete opposite, but I'm at least heading in the other direction. And I felt like I was holding her back because I was too intense for
Hmm.
her. And it turns out that that is the case. But um, you can't, it's very easy for me in that position to feel quite guilty, like I did. But it's just a mismatch. And you should never, if you're in the beginnings of a relationship or whatever, you're considering it, or you just left a relationship, you're looking for the next one, is just don't yeah don't kill yourself just because you really like the way that this person looks. Like it's insane. Yeah. Yeah.
Last question. Let's
Sure.
do it. But before the last question, tell me, what's the biggest challenge of being a businessman, entrepreneurs? What do you find most challenging about it?
Yeah. It's not going to be logistical. It's not going to be your business plan. It's not going to be whether you're selling someone that people want. Um, if you have all of the right things in your business and you have the best business ever, you're still always going to be the only person in the organization that spends all of their time making broken things, trying to make broken things work. And that's a really distressing situation to be in because you're basically just shown the worst parts of everything every single day. And you have to work extremely hard at them for many, many hours with very little reward,
Mm-hmm.
whether that be from your employees or whether it be financially or whatever, especially when you're building a new business. So it's not for the faint-hearted. It's for someone that is willing to not even just look at them and kind of ignore them. Well, yeah, you need to be in a position where you don't even consider them to be problems. So I think that is the most challenging part, more for the fact that you need to keep your mental peace as much as possible. The reason that people become entrepreneurs is because they typically have a light bulb moment. They think, screw this, I'm never working a 9 to 5 again. My manager can go, screw himself, herself, whatever. And I'm doing me. Like I'm going out there, making a stride, and you wake up the next day, you're getting paid 10 times less than you were at your job. If anything, you have to go and raise money, build a product, start, and you do all of this potentially with a 90 to 99% success rate in the first year. So it sounds insane, which is why entrepreneurs, business owners, I typically would imagine to be more like gamblers rather than chess players. uh,
Okay.
Chess players, you have a guaranteed result either side, unless it's you both finish in a checkmate. But and you don't have much reward at chess. Like you get a point or you win a game or whatever. Gambling, you win big or you lose huge. And there's just something that makes certain people tick. And it is challenging to you have to be very good at emotionally regulating yourself. I guess for anyone in today's world, but um, looking at everything that you have, telling yourself that it in the end doesn't really matter, and have some faith, some confidence, as we were speaking about, and get up and just freaking swing for it. Yeah, it's a tricky game. Yeah.
Okay. Last question for you is, what can make you cry and what can make you really happy?
Sure. I think the things that make me cry is probably quite funny for people to hear, but like whenever I see I saw a dude on social media who was probably 18 or 19 years old. He's Filipino and he was with his dad, and he was waiting for his dental exam result to come back. And it was like this really intense moment of him sitting at the table in a really dimly lit apartment, probably slap bang in the middle of the Philippines. They have two kids or whatever, and these are potentially like the future breadwinners for the family. They're going to move off to America, send their money back home. This big dream, right? They probably invested their life savings into this freaking dental exam, and it made me cry along with everyone else in the comments because it was really heartwarming to see that. So I think, or like I don't know, someone that overcomes some adversity, or like someone that wants something really bad, like that makes me cry. I'm probably I'm probably painting a picture of someone that's a maniacal capitalist on here or something. I do have my sweeter moments, but the things that make me really happy, like I'm simple. I think a lot of guys typically are as well. Like
Yeah.
you know, and not to generalize, but I'm gonna generalize for a moment. The women that I've met and experienced, met in my life and so on and so forth. Actually, no, I'm not going to generalize because they're exactly the same as I am. Just simple stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, freaking being with your partner on a weekend, going and getting a coffee. Um, just the lack of having to interact with the wider world and not having the responsibility on your shoulders. Just a moment of peace, and you can achieve that doing the simplest of stuff. I think it's actually less about what you're doing and more about what you're not doing. That really helps. Don't brain rot. Like, don't go on Instagram and freaking watch 50 videos of a cat.
That for me sound more romantic than happiness. I'm joking. The way
Yeah,
you
yeah. Well, true. Yeah,
it's
I
not
don't know.
good. I love the way you express. It's true. It's a place of happiness. When you are doing these simple things with someone special, why not? Bring the
Yeah.
genuine happiness. I get your point.
I
I
mean,
mean,
look, like now that you've said that, I'll give you some times where I'm happy by myself, and that's just
it's amazing.
well, look, I'll tell you this, I enjoy being by myself, don't get me wrong. I think a lot of people enjoy being by
What's
themselves.
your star sign astrology, David?
I'm a Pisces, March
Yeah.
12th.
Oh, it's very soon your birthday. My mom is Pisces as well. My mom. Interesting.
Really?
Yeah,
What,
yeah.
what are you?
Scorpio.
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
very
So
intense. Very intense.
what month is that?
It's end of October and mid of November.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, Pisces are meant to be, I guess, I don't know, but like very emotional.
Caring. They're very caring.
Yeah.
Emotional. Yes, emotional. Very caring as well. Yeah.
Um, I think like I don't know, I just enjoy being by myself and just literally just telling myself what to do for it. I'm gonna go and do this and
It's amazing. Being
yeah,
like enjoy your own company is a great,
yeah,
great happiness. Some
yeah,
people they struggle with that. I love being my own. I actually not even love. I need
yeah,
something I want for to be on my. I love my own company. It's something. You know what I mean. I love being on my own, and sometimes even talking to myself or making. You know what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I just love it. It's about loving your own company. It's very important for
Yeah,
sure.
one of the most like enjoyable is one of the freakiest things that you can do by yourself that brings you a lot of I'm not sure if you ever do this or people listening do this, but like if you kind of like crack a joke at yourself and you're
I
like,
do all the
yeah,
time.
that was a really good one. And like no one's
All
listening. Like
the time.
there's no
Yeah.
audience. There's no podcast audience. You're not doing a stand-up and you're just like, yeah, that was a really good one. And then you start laughing because you're cracking a joke at yourself. And it's like, if anyone could see how stupid I look right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
get. So then yet, let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to say some words, just one word can comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
Sure.
Let's start with money,
Freedom,
fear,
pain,
family,
happiness,
life,
expansion.
love.
Oh my God, this is so bad because the first word that came to my head is fear, but
Okay,
we'll
what's
leave
a
it
problem?
at that. Yeah.
Religion,
Discipline.
sex,
Damn. Um, I guess connection. Yeah.
politics,
Noise.
friendship,
Ah, there's a word I'm trying to think of for this. I guess like collaboration, something like that. Yeah.
desire.
I actually don't have one for that.
Okay, regret,
I'm going to use this one of the same words that I've used before, but I'm going to say pain. Yeah, there's a lot of pain and regret. Yeah.
okay. Success.
Again, I'm going to use another word, but freedom. Yeah.
Okay, wish.
I'm going to use the word future. I mean, for
Okay,
obvious reasons that it comes in the future, but yeah, yeah.
future, happiness.
I'm going to flip it on its head again, but I'd probably say family. Yeah.
One word, just the opposite. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like it. One word for Brighton.
I was gonna say gay, but I feel like that's probably been done before.
You
Obviously,
say gay.
yeah, Brighton is
It's
the
gay.
gay
It's,
capital of Europe.
it's
Uh,
very gay. Yes, for sure.
uh, so I'm gonna have to pick number two. Um, one word for Brighton would probably be um, I'd say like liberty, I think. Yeah.
One word for England.
Decline, I think. It's a very like British answer, and I like the one thing that I don't like about British culture is the amount of which people complain. But I complain about complainers, so I'm literally in the same boat. Like, there's nothing more ironic than English people like myself complaining about English people, and every English person you speak to does exactly the same thing. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's like we get off on complaining to each other about each other, but look, I say that, but there's so much to be grateful for, and you'll know this, like having come
So
from a completely different part of the world, you'll have way more perspective on what's great about this country and anything else. I'm trying to teach myself to practice more of that, even economically speaking. I know that people are going through some freakish times right now, but god damn, you're better off than probably 80 to 90% of the planet. So
David,
yeah.
you are so English. I'm joking.
Yeah. Well, no, I am. This is the thing. It's like
I,
I feel like probably
I,
time
I
to
love your honesty. I love the way you talk, express.
yeah.
It's amazing. Include yourself. There's no one needs. That's what I like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like self-deprecating humor is very English. Yeah, yeah.
And the last one now. One word for your business. What that will be?
I'd say exciting. Yeah.
Good one. Let's pretend I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friend define David in just one positive and one negative word only. What your best
Yeah,
friend?
sure. I mean, this word is both positive and negative at the same time. Very probably say like maniac or something. But the way that he would put it is that I'm like the equivalent of a sloth and a like a chimpanzee at the same time. Like I can flip between one of the two. But the
Love
negative,
that. It's
yeah,
good.
the negative would probably be
Too English. I'm joking. I'm joking.
yeah. Yeah,
Joking.
I was gonna say overthinking.
Good
If
one.
he was to pick a purely positive one, he'd probably say like he'd probably describe me as quite happy, I think. Yeah, like a positive outlook. Yeah,
Let's play now, David, in the magic box. You can ask me a question. Okay, David, you can ask me a question now.
sure. So the question that I was thinking of, I've been thinking about this since we were speaking on Instagram. is this. So, what is, or can you think of an event that has happened in your life
Mm-hmm.
that maybe at the time you really did not want to happen? Like with all of your heart, you did not want it at all. The idea scared you, freaked you out. But having gone through it and come out the other end has actually turned out to be one of the best things, or one of the best things that's happened to you.
I love your question, and my mind's going everywhere now, like everywhere where we've been. Actually, the first thing that came to my mind is very interesting. I had a breakup that was really painful. Talking about love again was really
Yeah.
painful, and I just wanted to get away from London because at the time, I just couldn't handle the whole situation of being in London. Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
because, not because of London itself, because the situation I was in, and I need to go away
Sure.
you know what I mean? But, and I had the opportunity to work for Disney Cruise Line in Orlando, and I didn't
Yeah.
want to go. I didn't want to go because I said, okay, I don't want to feel like I'm just doing that because I'm running off something just to make me forget something. So I didn't want to go. But when I sent out my application, everything, you know, when everything is going so quick and
Yeah.
that meant to be. So I didn't want to go, and I felt, okay, I'm gonna go now. Everything is done. Everything, it's, they want me there. I want to be there. I don't feel like going, but I will go anyway because it was a short contract anyway. So
Yeah.
for me, it was like 6, 7 months. It was just 3 months and a half. I said, okay, I can handle 3 months and a half away. One of the best experience of my life I ever had, and I'm so
Really?
I did, because not just made me get away from London and work out a little bit more on my emotions. At the same time as well, I met friends around the world, and I visit some place that I never thought, like, so beautiful paradises. Work for Disney Cruise Line, and never thought one day work for Disney
Yeah.
anyway. And the whole experience for me, made me a better person, and I meant to have this experience in my life. I didn't want to go. I knew that I was thinking to go just to get away, but I didn't think that would work anyway. I said, okay, I'm gonna do it just to do it, to try. But I didn't think that would accept me, and they did. And the whole process went quite smoothly, very fast. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, it's happening now. There's no way back anymore. So let me do it anyway. So I did, and it turned out a very good experience that I'm so glad that this opportunity I
That's
had.
incredible. Yeah. It's usually one of those things where like the if you feel like a little buzz in the side of your head, like thinking about something that really scares you or that makes you really uncomfortable, it's sometimes like a really good reason to go and do
Yeah,
it. Even if
yeah,
it just means that it pushes you outside of your comfort zone. But I mean, even like religiously speaking, sometimes this can be a voice inside of you to
absolutely.
take the
Yeah.
jump, have some faith. And as you said, if it's one of like the best experiences of your life and you a whole bunch of friends came out of it, saw some great places, it's like, whoa, you know.
Yeah, not just that, the whole experience. And I met people that, when I look back, and I remember being there when I was there, I met those, there were people like from all over the globe. And of course, there were some Brazilian people there as well.
Yeah,
And I remember connecting with the three Brazilian girls that we connect straight away. And after like a month that we were like spending so much time together, and I told them, I said, look, I meant to be here. I meant to meet you guys because I didn't want to come. I knew I was running away of some emotions. However, now I understand why I meant to be here, because those people are amazing experience I had there. Not just those English Brazilian girls, but I had a close English friend from I met there from Birmingham as well. We made
yeah.
really good connection. Not just that, other people around the globe as well. So the whole experience. And 1 month I was there, I started to realize, I said, now I understand why I meant to be here, because all this
That's
experience
incredible.
brought me. Yeah.
How
So
how did you feel when you came back to London then after having had the breakup? Do you feel like that you, I
it
mean,
helped.
yeah,
It
yeah.
it helped. It helped a little bit. However, I came back. Actually, I felt homesick after 1 month and a half I was there. I was like,
Really?
I did. I did. I said, oh my God. I remember some people, they were, after 1 week, they were like, oh my God, I miss. I was like, oh my God, no, I'm enjoying. And I never forget, I was in Nassau, Bahamas, in a coffee, like having a cake or a coffee. And suddenly I said, oh my God, Saturday now. London is like 7, 8 p.m. right now because the time zone difference.
Yeah.
And at this time, I was going to the cinema, I was doing something, and I was like, oh, I miss London right now. This vibe of London, just miss it.
Yeah.
But I felt like, okay, I meant to be in London. That was one of the time that I realized that I meant to be here.
Insane. Okay.
Amazing. Yeah, I never forget the place. I'm talking to you now. I can transport myself to that coffee shop and having this coffee, feeling like great, but at the same time as well feeling homesick. And I was like, oh, I want to go back to London again. I can't wait to finish my contract. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe someone wanted to keep you in London. That's why they gave you the cruise that you went
But
on, so that you could realize what you had. Yeah.
did you enjoy the interview, David?
Sorry. Yeah, no, I did. I really enjoyed it. You had some really good questions, really interesting questions. Went through like probably 50 different chapters of my life. And yeah, it was really great speaking with you and meeting you. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks so much for being so kind and so sweet and accepting the invitation. I love when I approached you. You're like, oh, let's do it. Why not? Now, I love when they just the power of saying yes is very important. Sometimes you
Yeah.
just have a moment or a conversation is great to connect with people. So thanks again for your time.
No, thank you. Yeah.
Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Um, I guess just to remind you, again, this is another like negative never way of doing it, but just to remind everyone that one day, and that day might be sooner than you think, you're going to die. And as depressing as that is, it's a reminder. Subsequently, the positive on it is that if that's going to happen, do you really think that you would care so much about what certain people think of you when you do something or taking that risk, or if you fail? I mean, you can never really truly fail unless it kills you. So, provided that you're, pulling safe risks, then freaking go and do it. Drink a glass of water, go to bed early, and wake up and go and smash it. So, yeah, you have one life. So like if you feel like you can get to your deathbed and you can look back feeling proud about. Also, here's another one. I'm sorry, I'm going to throw a second one at you. If you don't know what to do, pick whichever choice would be the most interesting story to tell. Something that I got from Alex Hormozy, I've kept that with me. Like, if I don't know what to do, it's like, well, if this screws up, at least it'll be a good story to tell. So, yeah.
I like amazing. And thanks again for the interview and have a good evening. Okay, keep in touch.
Yeah, no, keep in touch and I'll get everything over to you. Looking forward to it.
Take care. Bye-bye. Good
Bye-bye.
night. Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.